Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of the Sacred Society podcast with myself here, X.
Dadpool.
And no Butcher Brand today, but we are here for the brand new episode on the live stream right now that is going to be partaking with us due to the brand new show. Was it Fallout? We're talking about Fallout today. We're talking about a bunch of cool stuff. Let's see. There's camera one, camera two.
Camera one, camera two. Sorry about the messy hair, but you know, it's all right.
4. There's 5. All right. So, how you doing, sir?
Oh man, what an incredible day it had been today. Prepping right now over at the Intergalactic because we have on Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. or at least while supplies last. Last year we started to run out of books right about 3, but we have Free Comic Book Day.
Hey.
And it coincides with May the 4th be with you. So for those that are looking to celebrate, want some free books, come on out front. It's first come, first serve. We'll have a line started up probably about 9:30, and then right at 10 is when we'll go ahead and start handing them out. John is going to be running some in-store sales to go along with that. So he hasn't said for sure, but I believe one of them is we're going to do all back issue bids. Going to be $2. So he's going to put $2 on all those for comics, and then he's going to be running an ad for DC, Marvel, and Star Wars figures. Anything that's $29.95, he's going to be doing a 2 for $35, and then anything that is $19.95, he's going to be doing 2 for $25. So a little bit of opportunities, whether you want to pick up some DC, Marvel, or Star Wars figs, now would be your chance. So we're looking forward to that. Just like I said, just prepping for all that today. I went through all the product that we got in, had to separate it all out and take all the mature theme stuff away from the rest, like the teens and the everything for everyone and all that. But
what's new right now as far as reading?
Right now, today they just released the Deadpool Wolverine World War III. That issue just hit shelves today, and I know that there is some tie-ins with that. There's not the tie-in, but there's Blood Hunt. That's another new story that just hit. We'll have the issue 0 as a Free Comic Book Day, but today's issue number 1 released. So for those that want to read that story, now's the time to jump in on that. From what I can tell, it looks like Dracula is bit Doctor Strange, and there's some kind of shit that's going to happen because of that. So we'll have to read and see what that one's all about. But other than that, there was a couple of manga. I was really surprised we had some manga titles that were in there. They had Initial D was one of the free ones they were giving away. What was the other one that was backwards? Oh, One Piece. They have a One Piece manga that's coming out. It's Ace's story, so they're going to have one of those. I can't remember. There's some other stuff. We have some Ultraman cards, I guess, that we're going to be giving away while supplies last. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully some cosplayers will come out this year. I know last year we had a few that showed up. That was really cool. I was, of course, Dadpool. I had my son with me. He ended up being some character from Dungeons and Dragons that he had created himself. And I can't remember if did John wear a costume? No, I was trying to talk him into wearing a Star Trek gear, but he won't do it. He's like, no, I won't do it. But I'm like, but you love Star Trek. He's like, yeah, but I won't wear that. I was like, well, okay.
Still in the proverbial intergalactic closet.
Yes, pretty much. But,
nice. So let's talk about what we were supposed to talk about last week.
Yes.
Let's talk about Fallout.
Fallout from the Fallout, baby.
So how do you feel as a fan? Like, first and foremost,
how do I feel as a fan?
Well,
me with my Nuka-Cola here.
It's right there. That one.
That one?
Yeah. You know, I feel like I had predicted during the Magic the Gathering last one we had the boys on. I said that it was going to be a great representation because not only did they look at it and see something like that was like really solid.
Right.
As I talk to you guys out there, because fuck me apparently. I think it was something that absolutely hit with a lot of different tones. Where if you've never played the game, it's got a solid story. It's solid fucking cast.
Oh man.
And I feel like it's one of the very first times as a
Switching out headphones here. A little bit of a spill. Sorry about that.
I feel like it's one of the very first times that you really see them give a shit about it. Like we saw it, you saw it originally with The Last of Us.
Yeah.
But like the colors, the vaults, the people that worked on the show absolutely gave a shit about the show.
100%. So much to the point now that like Microsoft is seeing the success of this, and they're like, okay, how can we help make a Fallout game come out sooner than what they're predicting? Because as of right now, they have nothing ready to go for Fallout 5. Like, as far as you know, it's not even going to be available till like 2030. That would be the soonest we would possibly see a Fallout 5.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the show, because of the success, and because of like, dude, I just saw this thing that said that Fallout 4, physical copies of Fallout 4 are almost all sold out.
Oh, wow.
Because of the resurgence of this game. Fallout 76, the day after it released, had, what are they saying, like over 1 million players jumped on and started playing. I mean, even the apps, they brought the apps back out. Fallout Shelter. They added all the characters, I guess, from the show that you're able to play as. And I'm like, dude, I knew it was going to be big. I couldn't imagine it getting that big. Like, I knew it was going to be a hit for the true gamers, the people that played it, because obviously when that trailer came out, it was like, okay, it looks like these people did their homework. It looks like they really studied what they did. And overall, man, I just have to say, after the first episode, the way that it starts off, the fact that it starts with the end. You know, you have to deal with what happened, what got them there. You know, and then you see Goggins' character, Cooper, as this like Hollywood actor that's kind of had a falling out, but he's still trying to make something out of his career, I guess, or just kind of doing these kids pony shows and whatnot to make money. And then for those that haven't seen it, I'm sorry, we're going to be talking about spoilers. We're going to be going through the whole thing because you've had, 3 weeks to watch this show by now? Yeah, and if you haven't been watching, you've been living in a fucking vault. But no, but seriously, like, going back to what I was saying, like, just the way that it starts off from the beginning, you start off in LA, you know, right around the turn of, 2066, I think is when it starts, or 20, something like that, 2077. But I love how they explain the nuclear bombs when they're going off, you know, like, the way that they kind of foreshadow that whole thumb thing, like that little conversation that he has with the daughter, you know, is like not a conversation most parents ever want to have with their kids about, you know, in case of a fallout, in case of a nuclear attack, this is what you need to do. Yeah. Like, you know, by the thumb kind of thing. I remember in the 80s, like being in school, we had fire drills and nuclear holocaust drills where we had to get under our metal desk. Like, what's that going to protect us from? But anyways, going back to the show, like, once they establish that, once you see the bombs go off, and then they pop you right into the vault. And for those that have played, man, I don't know about you, but that felt like such a great experience. I hope that someday, like Universal Studios, whoever owns the rights to Fallout, will do the same thing like what they did for Super Mario Brothers and built a world for them. But I would love to see them do something like an interactive park. So not only can you go and visit the city, what was the name of the city in the show? Oh, fuck.
You're the one who watched it.
I know, I watched it like 100 times and I don't even remember it. Too many drugs at a young age. No, but like everything, if they can have a walk around experience, that would be fun. Because I know that one of the ladies that I follow on Instagram, Miss Fallout, she got invited to one of their experiences. There was a total, like, they had the whole city set up. They had, you know, places to go. You could try different foods that they have that they showcase on the show. They even had bottle caps there that you could trade for, like, items and whatnot. And she was even saying, like, at the inn, I remember she posted a video. They had, like, buckets and buckets of all these metal caps that people were using. But at the end of the day, that was done. So they were like, we're just going to throw these away. And she's like, what? I'm taking this. Like, that's what I would be doing too, man. Shit. But no, but once they started to get into the vaults, man, that to me was like it was going to make or break the show. Because for those that have played, that's where you start. You always start off in the vault, except for New Vegas. New Vegas is the only one you don't. But I like that one too. Anyways, but in the vault itself, the ambience, the whole feel of the rooms, the colors, the outfits, the Pit Boys, the Jello cake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like every little detail was really paid attention to. And when are we going to see that again? You know what I mean? Like,
I'll talk about it from my perspective. It's like, okay, so first and foremost, for anyone that has seen the series and you haven't finished it, I won't spoil the last episode, but I'll absolutely.
I will. No, I'm just kidding. This story takes place 19 years after the events of Fallout 4. Was it the second episode? No, it was the first episode when the Pride Wind shows up. That is in the game. That is in Fallout 4. And so even, I think it was the director or maybe it was Todd Howard that said that confirms the canological ending that you would have got in Fallout 4, which meant that the Brotherhood. And how it got all the way back to California, back to the West Coast, like.
Well, like first and foremost, I feel like when it comes down to the actual show itself, we start off in a vault. Sorry about that. We had a technical difficulty. So, welcome to this week's edition of the show.
Hey!
Yeah, all that shit didn't get recorded because of the other thing, but
that's
on YouTube.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not watching it live, then you're not in Memorex.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking watch it on YouTube. I'm fucking over it. But you start off in the vault, okay, for the Fallout show, and the first thing you notice is, like, for me as a color artist, I look at every single thing, from the color of the jumpsuits to the brushed metal. Every little detail was in there. Then you have Blamco. Then you have the deviled eggs. Everything that you see in abundance. I think what makes Fallout such a great experience is you play a game where everything's destroyed. It's very rare you find things new.
Yeah, what do they call it? Atomic Punk?
Atom Punk.
Atom Punk, there we go.
So you very rarely find things that are tangibly the way they should have been.
Right.
You know, you never really see that much unless you're in the cutscenes. So to see it in actual action of how they lived in a vault, what their rooms look like, it was great. And then the overseer and the wedding, and then they get to the whole conversation of the cousin, where it's like, I still love you, and it's like, we can do cousin things, but we can't do this anymore. I thought that was funny because it's so true. After so many generations, you have only so much. Then you get to the point of, in this one, it's 3 vaults connected.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Right, which I think makes more sense because, I mean, if you're going to alter any type of lore for the show or what you're thinking about, none of the vaults are connected to each other anywhere. But these ones make sense because you can build on what the fuck a vault is and then where you're going to take it.
Well, you got to remember, too, Vault-Tec, the whole reason for all the different vaults they're all science experiments. Every single one is built differently. Even the rich people that think, oh, I'm getting this great place to live and I'll be in this society and all that, like, we'll be fine. No, every single one of those vaults, there is some kind of science project that's going along because they're using that information to better themselves later on. And so I know I just watched this video about which is the worst vault of them all, Vault 11. In this vault, it's set up that every year they have to sacrifice somebody. If they don't, then the computers will activate and they'll kill everybody, or it'll do something like that. So for 16 years, the first 16 years when they're in the vault, everybody consistently did it. And then this one overseer got in charge and she defied it, and she let everybody else agree to defy it as well. So when the day came when they had to kill one person and they didn't sacrifice, nothing happened.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things like, no, we were just testing to see how long you would sit there and wait before you would, go against the grain. So
Well, the last person, there was only one person left in that vault. If I remember correctly in the story, and the person that was left.
they left. There was like 5 people that were left that figured it out, and like there's a recording you can find and listen to it on your Pip-Boy.
Yeah.
And it's you hear them talking about it, and then you hear 5 gunshots, or 4 gunshots, and then a scream, and it's like fuck.
And that's the crazy part is like, so when you get into the vaults and see them connected, then you have the marriage. Immediately you can already tell something's off.
Oh yeah.
The wedding, the way they get it done, and the whole idea of like middle class Nebraska America, I think that was the perfect thing to do for the series because, excuse me, Lucy is, and here's a huge thing, right? A lot of people love to talk about how nobody wants to see a female protagonist. Nobody wants to see one. Absolutely, do I want to see a good protagonist?
Right.
Just like Ellie in The Last of Us, Lucy fucking kills it.
Oh my God.
She's amazing. It's just written well.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit who's in charge. I just want to see a good story.
Well, and she even said like before she took the role, after she took the role, she went out and she started playing Fallout 4 just so that she could understand the game and understand more about everything. And so from that, knowing that she was a fan, knowing that pretty much everybody that worked on that game was a fan, you could really tell it pays off, man.
Yeah.
Like,
so they get to the wedding, and then all of a sudden they have the sex scene, and the sex scene goes straight into the fucking dick curtain.
yeah.
Which is the funniest thing ever, because like her face is like, because she's never experienced that.
Right. Her cousin never did that.
Her cousin, yeah, exactly. Wait a minute.
What?
When I fuck my cousin, they don't do the dick fucking curtain.
Dick curtain.
Yeah,
The
my
hell?
uncle did, but not my cousin. And I feel like that is what I feel like that's what makes the show interesting, is that they're still learning. They're very intelligent, but they're not very smart. They're very gullible. And then from there,
Well, you got to realize too, it's gullible because they've been living in a vault. They've been living in a safe environment.
well, no, they've been living in a controlled environment that made them trust. They were
Right,
supposed,
right.
They were supposed to be the executives. They were the best of the best. So then you get to the Raiders. Oh my God, dude! Talk about the right amount of aggressive.
Oh,
The fucking shotgun through the head.
the pickle when he kills the guy at the when he hits him with the shovel, and that slow motion. It's like you look at her and she's looking at her dad. She's just like, "Fuck, dude, he just murdered. He just murked him." And then he goes over there and he's like, "No, we're gonna make sure he's done." Like when you see his face, that makeup that they did for that cut, it like everything about that scene was just spot on for like the vengeance you wanted to see, because you wanted to see the vault dwellers survive, because like, dude, the sanctity, the safety of everything that they have is now like it's sullied, it's dirty now. And fuck, dude, like, yeah, Lucy's character I was genuinely happy with. She wasn't the one that was like super overpowered. She was powered enough, and that's why that was the other thing that I appreciated about the opening of when you're in the vault and she's applying for her marriage license, and like she goes through her stats, she goes through her special.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that for those that have played, those are the things that you set. And so like when she's like, oh well, I did physical education, and then it's like, and then she shows that she's doing archery and whatnot, and she's like, oh, and I did shooting guns and this and that, so you can see what her skill level is. And then when they showed her combat skills, like, those is my extracurricular one, you're like, she's a badass. She's a badass on her own. Like,
She was more than capable,
Oh,
especially as Overseer's daughter, right? Then you get to the Ghoul, good old Walter Goggins.
Oh man, that guy nailed.
Explain what ghouls are to people that don't know.
So ghouls essentially are humans that were exposed to radiation. I don't know if On some of them, it's over time they've aged that way because of the radiation sickness that they've incurred, and so over time they start to degenerate and eventually become a mindless ghoul at that point. So there's different levels. Like that's why this guy, he's 200 years old. We don't know how he was able to survive for 200 years. We don't know what turned him. We get an idea. Because in that one scene when the crazy witch doctor fixes the squire's foot and he shoots him up with that little injection thing, that was supposed to be like, oh, that's the serum that turns people, because it gives you like long life, but your long life goes long.
Yeah, what cost?
Your body eventually will degenerate. So
and so Walter Goggins comes in, and I know exactly where they filmed that thing because that's part of the Western lot over at Universal Studios.
Really? Oh man.
Because they did Wild Wild West. That little building they have is the same one where they had the water tower.
Oh yeah.
In the very front. So, anyways, you see him the way he fucking kills everybody, and then he has his radiation. From what I'm assuming, pure radiation, or a simple, specific type of serum. I'm assuming. And I think about it in the crater, the children of Adam.
Yeah.
I think it's those kind of people that they need to help keep themselves going. But seeing that happen, and then just the aggressiveness. Then when we get to Maximus and how the Brotherhood of Steel is portrayed.
Very, very how do you say that?
Military?
Yeah, militaristic, and also heavy in the religion. You know, it's like almost a cult. It's a military cult. You know, they believe that their way is the only way. But those power armor suits, that scene when they're walking up, and all those suits are practical suits. Like there's a company that made those. I think I've posted a number of clips where they're in them and they're just jumping around, like moving very freely. Like there's a guy on Macari that's put up for like $30. You can buy the disk drive or whatever it is, and it's got all the patterns for it, so you can have it 3D printed.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but I mean, how much is it going to cost to 3D print? I'd spend the $30 to print out some.
I would assume it'd be pretty affordable if you know what you're doing.
Right.
But for the most part, I think what I find funny and interesting about it in general is the fact that the way they portray the Brotherhood of Steel is like they're not anything else besides just grunts that are trying to get by, like the pre-war tech. It's a cult. It's a religion, you know. And what I love about it is how, as you find out someone's becoming a knight, and all the shit that happens and what they go through, and what I love about it is you notice that when he gets taken to service, the best thing you could be is a knight,
right?
And or
a squire,
a squire to be a knight, and the whole hierarchy, and then the fucking razor blades and the boots and this and that, and then finally you get to what's his face, the knight.
Oh, Maximus. Or you're talking about
the actor?
Fucking Michael Rappaport.
Michael Rappaport.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
With the was it Yao
guy?
Yao guy. Yeah, Bear. That one was fucking great,
dude.
And a lot of people don't even like that fucking dude. And what I found funny was they killed him just on purpose.
Yeah.
You know, but
doesn't he always get fucked up like that? I remember in Next Friday, when he shows up at the doorstep and he's like delivering some package and he's talking hella shit, and then he leaves, and then like all of a sudden he's starting to walk away. La la, you hear the dog chasing his ass, and he's getting eaten up. Like fuck.
I liked to see how that moved forward, and then Maximus is trying to be a good. He's trying to be an important person, not a good person, because I don't think good's in him, right? Like the thing that I really think about when it comes to him is when they get to the town and she's trying to look for her dad, and they all kind of coincide with each other. First and foremost, Walter Goggins, the ghoul, fucking can tear some shit up, and it's just business. He's just straight going for business. Then you have Lucy, who's trying to get her stuff going, and she's like, well, don't you want to help? Aren't we supposed to do this? And that old lady, her just thing of like fucking vault dwellers.
Yeah,
they're just tired
fucking
of it.
vaulties.
Yeah, they're so tired of it because of the idea of like, well, we weren't privileged. It gives you this whole different perspective on what people are. how life moved on and all this other stuff. And then when the Brotherhood of Steel, or when Maximus comes into it, he has all this power, and then that power, if you're not careful, it's gonna fuck you over. And how the Ghoul has to go against him and this and that. What just dawned on me a while back while watching it was, if he knew about the fucking in the last episode, if he knew about that one defect in the suit, why didn't he use it in the first episode? But again, whatever. So they go and they fight, and then you see the severity of what that flashback goes to with, is it Voltex? Yeah.
Go ahead.
The older gentleman. Who was it? The old man with the dog.
Old man with a dog. Oh, that's you're talking about the Enclave. So the Enclave, yeah. They just added a 20 gigabyte, something like that, 20 megabyte upload for Fallout 4. Even for PS4, I was able to get something, but they added an Enclave storyline now to it, and I'm wondering if that was because of the show influencing. It's like, you know what, we need to have some more of that in the game to build interest. But the Enclave is just like the Brotherhood of Steel, but they're more about getting the tech for good reasons versus Brotherhood of Steel just trying to get all the tech they can get their hands on to protect themselves from them ever having war again. So there's some back lore that I was researching and hearing about, where the Enclave in Fallout 3 was actually working with the aliens. They actually, their whole thing with Vault-Tec, what their involvement with it was that they were trying to learn the science and everything that they could get out of the information from all the experiments from the vaults, to use that to help them get technology to be able to get off planet, because they were trying to get to some planet, Octarius 1. In Fallout 3, you have the not Operation Zeta, what is it? Something Zeta.
Yeah.
And you go up on there, and if you go through all the computers on one of those computers, you can find information about that stuff. But yeah, so the Enclave, they're all about, you know, getting the tech to use it for good purposes. And but again, you saw when you're in the Enclave, like how locked down it is. It's just as locked down, but you know, it's cleaner, I guess you would say. It almost feels like Vault up on the top versus.
Yeah, and that's where, you know, again, if you've never played the games, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff you don't really know.
Oh yeah.
And what I loved about how they portrayed this entire world is, like, he could have just told her what's going on, which again, expositions, they do it in anime. They don't shut the fuck up about what the hell they're doing. But in fucking American TV shows, they're like, I have no room to tell you anything. And I feel that is what makes the show so great, is because Lucy now has to chase with his head. And then she's going around the foot, when he loses his fucking foot and they have to put that boot on him. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Like, what a brutal world for things to be in.
I know.
And then we get to where Lucy gets captured by the ghoul, and then they meet that salamander.
Yeah, that was a gulper. That's what if you play Fallout 4 in the DLC Far Harbor, that's where you encounter all the gulpers and things like that. That's the other thing that I appreciated about the show, is you got to see some of those creatures that you would encounter in the game. The rad roaches, the gulper, the Yao guy. We didn't see any death claws, which I'm kind of glad they didn't.
I thought we saw a yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad they didn't spend it all in one season.
Right.
Like, I think the biggest problem with most shows is they
give the full Monty.
Yeah. And Fallout is an experience. It's an open world. What I think they did really well is they took you on a trip, and they were like, okay, cool, this is where things are at. These are players, these are people, and go.
Well, they laid out the factions. That's one thing that I appreciated. They gave you all the factions. You have your raiders, you have the Brotherhood of Steel, you have your vault dwellers, you have your ghouls, and then you have just the regular NPCs, or your humans that are up there, and all the other people in between. I love how they established even the NCR with Moldalver. Like, they give you everybody's where they're coming from, but you can't really tell where they're aligned. Some of them have like good bad intentions, but they're also bad good intentions as well. It's like you don't really know where they stand. So everybody comes in neutral, but there's that sense of like, I don't trust this person, I don't trust this faction, I'm worried about them, but I'm cool with this faction. You know what I mean? So that was another element that they incorporated in the show that I appreciated. That, and it always makes you feel like a choose your own adventure, even though you're not choosing the adventure, like which direction you can go, but it feels like it, like in the game. You know, you have decisions you have to make. Do you go this way and go off on this side quest to go get this so that you can come back to the regular quest, and it puts you back on the real path to get to where you're supposed to go. And like, yeah, that again, the layers in the show, it really paid off. Like I think it's like the number one watch show on Amazon Prime, and just hit a whole bunch of.
Well, not only that, but like you see what happens between Lucy and the Ghoul, right? Like they have these factions where she's just slowly losing hope for what she was always been taught, that you can talk it out and there's reason and so forth. And then the Ghoul is just so jaded. Then they get to the Super Mart.
Oh, the Super Duper Mart.
Yeah. And then you get the Raiders. You get
Codsworth.
Matt
Berry, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's
like, what the fudge? What the fudge? There's no fudge here.
Exactly. And they did a really good job of what that was, and then showing the backstory of how he sold his rights to his voice. And you see the future is what Matt Berry's character says to Walter Goggins' character, where he goes, you see the future, it's all in advertising. This is how the world is seeing it. These are the elite, and this is how they see the rest of the world. If you're not at that party, you don't matter. And he's like, we're just doing what we need to do. And so when he's hearing these robots, he's hearing a friend. You know, what a great way to tie that in. Then the Raiders, and then the feral ghouls. How that works.
Oh man, that one scene where they encounter the ghoul that's inside the abandoned house, and it's like one of his friends, and you can see him slowly changing from a ghoul that's there to a mindless one, and he keeps snapping in and out, like, you know, he's trying to hold on. You can see him holding on to what little shred of humanity that he has left, but it's slowly, you know, being pulled away from him. And just in the conversation that the ghoul's having with them, you know, everything's like, oh, it's all calm and cool, and like, yeah, we feel bad for the situation, and then bam, shoots him, kills him, and he's like, all right, well, let's eat some ass jerky, you know what I mean? And it's like, because for him, it's just another day. It's another person that he's seen, that he's known, but he did him a favor, and like, he hopes that someday when it becomes his turn, hopefully somebody will be compassionate and take him out quick so he doesn't suffer, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like Spock says, how much. Anyone notice the names of the open crypto capsules that were already open? I'm assuming that he's talking about the vault that they find. I only caught Goggins' wife's name. Hey, Spock with the win, my boy.
All right.
Then once they get that done, then you see Maximus and Lucy team up. When he gets with his Squire,
yeah.
Which, I mean, that's its own fucking turnaround. The conversation I was having, shout out to Darth and Jackie today, because I was tattooing Darth, was I think what people really enjoy about Fallout is that it is the closest thing to Game of Thrones that we've had in a while, in the sense of you're having 5 to 6 different stories out there in the world and how they interject to each other. So not only do you have good writing, but you have a good variety of characters that if one chooses to go one way, it does affect the other 3 to 4, 5.
And that's exactly what happens in the game. You know, depending on your situation, depending on the decision in that moment, it will directly affect what's going to happen to you going forward, depending on who you align yourself. So, yeah.
I really liked not just like the ability for them to not do anything, like the scenes, the wide shots. You want to get married? I'm going to die soon. It's not going to be, you know, I'll be good to you. Like, it's just such a weird thing, but it's the truth. There's just nothing to live out there for them. And what I truly believe is that Lucy is going to be the one who turns super jaded and super aggressive, and I think that Maximus is going to try to be the hero, trying to help her get back, and the ghoul's that middle ground of the devil's advocate, because too many things are going to happen, right? And at some point, the Squire is going to team up with Goggins. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
That's a foreshadowing for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I don't know. Without giving too much away, all I can say is this: the very last episode, without spoiling anything, the fucking war scene. Talk about
The best place to have it too.
Yes.
Because like, if in the very opening episode, when Goggins is on the horse with his daughter, and they're riding up on the top of the hill, and then it does the wide shot, and it goes to all of Los Angeles, and you see all the bombs. If you look in the foreground closer to you, you'll see that same building, the Griffin Memorial. It's right there. So for them to revisit that place that was in the very beginning shot to be the last place that you're seeing, and you wouldn't catch that when you're watching that because you have no idea like where the story's going to go, what the significance of that building's going to be. But then when you see it again, you're like, holy shit, dude! Like, what has this world gone through? You know, what has that whole city, like for 200 years, have had to endure all that stuff? They had the NCR go through there. They already had the war because that's what they pretty much that's what they're showing right there, the war with the NCR and the Brotherhood. Like,
yeah.
you know, that, oh my God, all the fight, every NCR soldier's like armor, the guns they were using, everything was like right out of New Vegas, dude. Like that, they were able to bring you Fallout 3, all the Fallout 1 and 2 areas, because that's where the first two games, I believe, take place in. But they give you all the elements of Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 in that, plus New Vegas. In just this, it's almost like what Star Wars did when Force Awakens. You know, it took all the best of the 6 movies and just like plopped it in here, but it worked.
Yeah,
you know?
and what I love too is when they went to Vault 22.
Yeah, it was right after the Super Duper Mart, right?
Yes.
Yeah, oh my
And
God,
then,
to walk out of the frying pan and right into the fire, like.
And then immediately in that situation is when they show the vaults, and then it plays the music. Was it from Fallout 3 or 4?
Depends on what song it was. But that's the other thing.
They included a really solid soundtrack.
The soundtrack.
The soundtrack was on point. They made nods to everything, and
the DJ.
Yes.
The radio DJ, because in every game there's always a DJ. Like Three Dog was in Galaxy News Radio in Fallout 3. In 4, it's Travis at the Diamond City Radio. But for this one, we got Fred Armisen.
Yeah.
What was his name?
I don't remember his name, but I do remember the fact he's like, if you want to send me a postcard, actually send me one. Don't show up. You know, like so fucking easy for him to do his thing. Yeah, man. I give it honestly a 9.5 out of 10. I would give it a perfect 10, but the only reason I don't is because I feel like the season itself was set up perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I would have seen more of Vault-Tec and understanding like what brought them together. Then when you see that meeting at the end and how everyone kind of ties in, to me,
Mr. House was in there. That's from New Vegas.
9.5 to 9.8 because it was as close to perfect as you can get.
Oh yeah,
I absolutely said that this thing was gonna fucking hit, and I wasn't goddamn wrong. And
the same thing.
And the only reason that I thought that was because I saw the set design.
Mm-hmm.
No fucking buddy is gonna put that much effort into something if they don't understand it.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like they put a tremendous amount of time. I think the reason that Game of Thrones the last season didn't do well is because everything was established and they were riding the coattails of almost 10 years.
Oh, that's true.
You know, so like for this, I feel like you'd have to give it 2 to 3 seasons and then just cut it.
Well, that's I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do. They're probably going to go 3 seasons and then be done, make it a trilogy, so that you're telling all 3 of their story arcs. You're finishing off the Ghoul story arc, you're finishing off Lucy's story arc, and you're finishing off Maximus' story mark. So,
Spock asks, any predictions for Thaddeus? I think that's the Squire, right?
Yeah.
I honestly believe that he's going to be he's going to become a ghoul. He's going to come across Goggins, who's going to help him. Because here's the thing, he's forever the Squire in this story.
Yeah.
and then it's gonna happen where he is going to die because he's gonna have.
But he can't.
Well, somebody can kill him.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and that's where it's gonna be
Yeah.
a Brotherhood of Steel thing. If
Yeah.
Maximus is gonna have to sacrifice this dude, after all,
yeah.
you know, and then Lucy doesn't really have a problem with him, so it's going to be in a position where Maximus is going to have to prove himself to the Brotherhood now as knight, and he's going to be the sacrificial lamb because you're going to care about that guy. You're going
Yeah.
to ride his ass as well as you can, and then they're going to kill him. He's the Ned Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think that he's a cool character, but it's not the main character.
Yeah.
And so you have all that, and then immediately with the introduction to the ending, you immediately see, okay, now they're expanding and going out. I think they will go to Boston. I think they will go to the Midwest or to New York. I feel like they're going to push.
Yeah, eventually we'll get there. We'll get back to the East Coast, but we have one stop along the way because at the end they show the city that they're heading to, and that directly sets up from one of the other games. So again, like, I can't say enough about this show other than I agree with you, 9.5 out of 10. They did everything right. This is probably, I can't think of any other video game property that has come out that has been a TV show, a movie, or anything else that has had this big of an impact than anything else. Like, I can't think of any other video game that like did it so well that it was like sets the standard now.
I feel like,
unfortunately,
I feel like if I were to say it, I feel like Last of Us did well.
Yeah.
And it created a standard that people couldn't go back on for this.
right?
So with Fallout, they absolutely set the bar. You know, Spock goes, maybe he becomes a super mutant. Maybe that is an introduction. You never know.
Because we haven't seen super mutants.
Yeah,
And yeah,
and Edwin goes, Ubu goes, I was happy that they played I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire by the Ink Spots. Every single song in there, dude.
As soon as it hits, yeah.
Not only, you know, Sanzu and I were talking about, that's just that soundtrack is gonna be so on point when it comes out on vinyl, because it is such a good representation of what makes that game feel that game. My Lonesome Heart by Johnny Cash. You know, funny enough, there was a really big time where everything he did was in a 5-note deter. So dun 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 dun. You know, that's the same intro. It's just a half step down from Folsom Prison Blues, and it just carries so well.
Yeah.
When the guys
Did
try
they
to
play
steal,
Butcher Pete? Because that's one of my favorite.
I don't think they did for
Oh,
this one.
man.
But again, as I feel like they're gonna work their way up to it.
Yeah.
You got a taste, man, and it's fucking worth it. Yeah, 9.5 to 9.8 for me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Invincible.
Oh man. Yeah. I just finished it last week. Again, here's another superhero show that's not afraid to pull punches, not afraid to make some heavy choices. You get to see Mark's character like deal with the consequences of what happened with the fight with his dad. You know, where he ended up. I don't know. Should we go spoilers? Because
Yeah.
okay. Where he ends up on the planet where his dad was hiding out. The fact that now he has a brother that he has to take care of. He brings him back to Earth, and he's just trying to do his best to be like, how do I be a college student? How do I be a superhero? How do I make this, like, how do I get my mom to accept the situation for what it is? Because that is a hard situation, you know, when you think about it. But, yeah, the fight scene with the big brain guy, dude, that.
Well, you totally forget that he's even part of the fucking
Yeah.
season. First and foremost, the most annoying fucking character is Mark's girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
She makes everything about herself, and it's always like, oh, but I can't deal with this. But
what
I can't
about
do
me?
that. But what about me? It's like, bitch, I'm trying to save the world. The fuck is your problem? You know, I can't take this. You think I fucking want to? Okay, it makes two of us. Get the fuck out of here. God damn it. And Cyril and
Again by Walter Goggins.
Walter Goggins,
Dude,
killing
fucking,
it.
yeah.
Every single person in this universe, I think it seems crazy how it builds, and then there's the ferocity of it. Everything is extremely amped up to 10. Even the multiverse thing was such a good thing to see. I loved the Comic-Con scene where they're talking, and it's supposed to be Robert Kirkman.
Oh really?
As the voice.
I didn't catch that.
And the creator, and it was just like, yeah, man, I love how you design things. Yeah, how sometimes that we do this over our fucking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sometimes when we design a certain animation. Yeah, but it takes forever. Yeah, actually, we do these really big shots where nothing's actually moving or doing anything. Then we have other ones where we put their hands in front of stuff, so you can't tell that they're actually moving. And he goes, wow. Like, such a solid nod to the idea of why the animation took so long.
Yeah.
But it was such a good season, and then to now see Alan the Alien,
Oh, he came back and he's like
and he's
super
better than
buff.
ever.
Yeah.
and then him working with Omni-Man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and just again, dude, J.K. Simmons, fucking what is his name that plays Invincible from Walking Dead?
Steven Yeun.
Steven
Yeah,
Yeun.
he plays Mark.
Yeah, Mark's mom. This voice cast is just on fucking point. Everything about it, it's just good storytelling. And I feel like that's what it is for a lot of the comic book community right now, is where, you know, we've been doing the card nights.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing all the game nights, and we're slowly becoming more of a card and game shop with comics than anything else. I've always loved reading, but in today's climate and age, nobody really fucking collects comics for the love of reading.
It's covers.
It's covers and it's reselling,
Yeah.
which I get it. Like we do the same thing,
Right.
but you can't really enjoy what the fuck you're reading. There's some amazing stories out there. Invincible was one of those that I don't think a lot of people really gave a shit about until they made it bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Hellboy was one for years. I remember loving Hellboy when it came out years ago, and then the movie came out, and I loved it even more.
They have a Hellboy free comic book day coming out this week. I'll grab you a copy.
Perfect, thank you. And I feel like that's where a lot of stuff becomes really canon in people's opinions. But you need long format, and you need not just animated. You need somebody with vision that actually has played these things. Because if you don't, look at Fallout versus Halo.
Oh, yeah. And for those that I haven't watched Halo, I remember playing the game.
have.
So, like, what is your opinion on Halo? How did it compare the game? Did it give you the feeling of the game the way that Fallout gave you the feeling of the game? That's my question.
If I could compare the Halo TV show to the Halo video game, it made me wish that I could get a real Halo in real life by killing myself. Holy shit.
You can work on that.
Yeah, I've been trying to. I feel like that is one of the worst things, is especially when the main actor also says, like, if you don't like this, then you're not a real fan. It's like, fuck you, dude. Like, you know nothing about this. Like Steve Vai being the guy who does the most iconic guitar over the Halo theme, and you have Bungie, you have all these really specific things that made Halo what it was, right?
Yeah.
And the show itself is bad because it is a world in which people already exist, ideologies, factions, loss and gain. Halo Reach is probably one of the best video games that had ever come out for Halo because of the story. If you've ever played it,
Haven't played it.
Resort Playground on YouTube. Phenomenal fucking game. It's an iconic one, but it's basically the Suicide Squad. You have 5 of the best of the Spartans.
I do remember seeing those characters come out in toys, and okay, so now it makes that connection. All right,
Yeah, this planet of farmers. That this is right when the Covenant was about to invade. But nobody knew who they were.
Right.
So they got sent out to go protect this planet of insurrectionists, basically.
Oh shit.
And then it was like, oh fuck, we gotta fucking protect these. Well, we gotta do our job, and one by one they get taken out. And it's always in a way of valor, or it's just like a sniper or something. And it's a really hard story to read and play, because it's a book too. And I feel like with the Fall of Reach, you have this thing of like, you're kind of taking everything that made that story good and be like, but what if we just didn't do that and make it worse? Like, what if we made it our way, the way we would do things? Jesus,
Beer.
and Zima. God damn it. Fucking every time.
Zima and Totino pizza rolls.
Let's see.
Take this at my body.
Let's see. KKA, they had 4 to 5 seconds scene that had Dr. Doom in it. Some bullshit. As I was watching it, person came to mind. Yeah, I'm always the one that comes to mind, baby. The problem with the Halo show is, if no one has seen it, look up. Edwin, you're in the chat. What is it? I think it is for Halo Reach or something else. But they did a small series of. They had a small series of videos they had made for the game, and they were like small mini episodes, and it shows cadets at this training camp, and they all start getting murdered like after a while, and then they feel like, well, who the fuck is that? And they've never seen a real Spartan, and it's Master Chief.
Holy shit.
They've never seen the Covenant. So this whole thing happens, and it is, I forget the name of it, but just look up Halo Reach short film, and it's 5 episodes. It's really well done. That is exactly.
You know what
how
I
you
would
do
love to see is, what was that movie that came out that was all first person perspective?
Oh, Hardcore Henry.
Hardcore Henry, but give it to me Halo.
I can
You know what I
see
mean?
that.
Like, because again, you're gonna feel like the character all the way through the whole experience. You know what I mean? And yeah,
Well, my favorite thing about Hardcore Henry was when they have the perspective of, excuse me.
God bless you.
Thank you, sir. Excuse me. When he doesn't speak, what makes it is his hands and how he's acting, and the clones when they're talking to him, and he's in the strip club, and the guy just takes out of his fucking junk in his tidy whities. You think it's a giant bulge, and he pulls out a giant sack of Coke, sticks it in his face. He's all right, this is fucking wall, mate. And he jumps over the counter, and Henry's hands are moving like very expressively, and he's trying to move around. There's firing everywhere, and the dude jumps back over, has the guns in his hand, and he goes, "The floor is fucking lava!" And like disappears again, like almost like a whale going into water, but he's just diving into a fucking strip club.
Hell yeah!
And so they start running and doing things, and they get to a point where they get later in the movie, and they get to a giant abandoned, looks like an apartment building or something in Russia, and he has the doctor has different versions of himself, and you get to where they're trying to take out these SWAT team people, and then he throws the grenade and perfectly takes out all these group of men, and he goes, "Oh, you okay, bruv?" And it's a 1931 World War One type of, or 1918, sorry, World War One type of soldier that the guy's portraying. And then after he blows it, "Are you okay, bruv?" And he just goes, and then he just goes back to running. I think the only reason that it works in the perspective of Hardcore Henry is because the hands can be extremely expressive in a comedy like thing from Addams Family.
Yeah, that's true.
But it cannot be dramatically there if you can't see what Chief does, because Chief himself has to be a symbol of hope.
Yeah.
And he doesn't see himself as that. He sees himself as a soldier. So I think what really falls short in Halo is you had a bunch of people trying to rewrite what makes the story a story. Fallout, they did not rewrite the story. They took a part of the story that they thought would be good and added it to the world. now there's the argument with New Vegas and this and that, but the truth is there's multiple endings.
Oh, yeah.
So this is just one of the mechanically endings. Like you said, this is if the Brotherhood had won.
Yeah, because in Fallout 4, that's, I guess, one of the last storylines where you take on the Brotherhood, or the Brotherhood takes over the whole Commonwealth. And if that happens, then they rule everything, which would explain why we see the Pride win over on the West Coast now showing up in LA. And what is their intentions here? Are they coming back to take over the rest of the NCR? Which clearly they were looking for Moldover. They were looking for the Enclave scientist that's gotten away, because they wanted his mind, they wanted his tech, because whoever controlled that fusion controlled the energy, controlled the world, because that's what was powering. That's why when they decided to give it to everybody, as opposed to, and that was the other great thing, is like the water chip. There's what was that in their own vault when they find out that their water chip is damaged, and they're like, oh yeah, we got to get it fixed. Okay. Yeah. That is a call out to Fallout 2. In the game, that's one of the missions you have to do, is one of the vaults is having issues with the chip. You have to leave the vault. You have to go and find somebody to fix it or whatnot, to bring it back to save your vault, basically. So that was, again, the little call outs to all the different video games that have come out without really saying, oh yeah, this is from that movie, or not movie, this is from that game, and so on and so forth. But yeah, and I feel like that is another thing, is you have to, if you're going to add to lore, like I was having this conversation with Biff yesterday during lunch, and we were talking about, as tattoo artists, how do you create a name when you're always kind of doing stuff for others, right? Like how do you really create a style, or how do you create a consumer base that comes to you when it's not always your designs, right? And some people really thrive off of that, which I think is a great thing, because obviously I aim for that myself. But it's also, you have to look at people having this conversation of, what are you doing with the overall story arc of what you're adding to if it's not yours? So my example was this kid that I grew up with. His name was Ryan. Dude was a guitar player. He was an interesting kid. One day he goes, man, you need to stop drawing fucking comic book stuff. Create your own shit, because if you were in a band, you'd just be a cover guy. That's
and
true.
I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of true, huh? And then one day I was like, well, I don't totally agree with you. And he goes, well, I don't see how you'd make it on. Like, if you're just going to draw Batman for the rest of your life, then you're stuck to Batman. I go, yeah, but I love what Batman has brought to me as a character, and his story arcs and everything. I'm fortunate enough, hopefully one day, to sit down in that seat and add something to that mythology. I don't create Batman. I create another adventure that pertains to his life. And damn it, may it be terrible, and praise it, may it be great. But I get to live in that world, and that is a staple. If I want to write something of my own, that's fine. But that was a benchmark for me to try to work in that world, and here I am now. So I feel like when you start talking about these shows and people and all that, what you're really trying to do or say is like, okay, how do we get a consumer base that likes this, and how do we get new people to like it? Don't worry about new people liking it. It'll be there. Cyberpunk was one of the best examples of what really reinvigorated an entire fucking thing. Liberty, what was it? Phantom Liberty, all this other stuff that they had already had down the pipeline. You see how they really bumped it up heavily in what they intended that game to be. But they released things that weren't ready. They were testing and marketing it, and then they had us, the consumer, basically wait for the upgrades and then pay for the final product later again with DLCs. And it sucks, but that's what happened. The anime was so fucking good that it jumped up 700% or something like that for people to play it. Look at what happened to Last of Us. Look at what happened to fucking Fallout. There's a resurgence for people to jump on board to what is there.
Right.
If people were genuinely intelligent in these fucking marketing campaigns, outside of just, oh, I've made a lot of money, that's great. But you could make 10 times more if you cater to the people who cared about it. If you're willing to put $1 billion towards a property, then trust the $1 billion it took to make that property, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you
Well, I
trust
mean,
people?
and it shows in Fallout because like they made that for themselves and for the fans. Like they were fans of the show. That's why in every little detail in that vault. Matter of fact, when the director got on set, he was even saying like he thought most of that stuff was gonna look faux and like half-assed done. No, he walked into the room where the overseer's office is. There's all these papers spread out like on here. He picked up a piece of paper and it had a whole storyline of like what was on that paper. It was like an official thing, and like every file you opened up and you went through each page, it had some kind of relevance to what that prop. So every prop was made with a sense of purpose that actually had real world stuff in it. And he's just like, you guys spent that much time on the detailed like and doing all. He's like, absolutely, because if it's on screen, they want it to be able to be seen the same way when if you've ever been a looter and you're going through all the different buildings and you're picking up all the stuff. That's what you do is you're searching on all the tables and underneath and cracks and shelves. The thing about the squires, them carrying that big bag, that is like what happens when you have too much stuff on you and you're over encumbered in the game. That was like a kind of a way to call out being encumbered with too much shit.
Wait, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was another great little nod to the game because again, they paid so much attention to all the details. You like, I wanted to live in that world, and that's a sad thing to say because I don't want to see this world ever be destroyed by nuclear holocaust or anything like that.
Bring it on. Fucking, I don't give a shit.
But
Start with Sacred Age. Just fucking hit me specifically.
well, and that's funny because in my Fallout game, I do have Sacred 8.
I know.
Yeah.
So fucking run out to the Sacred Age, baby. Yeah. Where they
Yeah.
don't have.
I can't remember which guy I have. I finally put somebody over there to work the counter. It's what's the guy that's always like super sappy and sad?
Oh, are you not talking about Travis?
I think maybe it is. Yeah.
The radio DJ.
No. In Sanctuary, because that's where my Sacred 8. I'm trying to remember what guy it is. Not
It's not the junkie.
not Sturgis, and it's not. Is it? Oh God, June. I think his name is June.
Mm.
I think he's the one he's working the counter. So he's just.
What's crazy about the Fallout thing is the little brother. How many people are really like one of my
Norman.
Yeah, one of my favorite fucking memes right now, and it's always to this shit. Like it's always to this goddamn song. But let's see. Come on, bitch. Run out to the Fallout, baby. Blah, blah,
The
blah,
Nat
blah,
King
blah.
Cole song, Orange Colored Sky. Every time I hear that one, flash, bang, Alakazam.
It's this one.
Orange Colored Sky. Yeah.
And it's always like the kids watching the TV, and this one goes the friend group chilling. In the back, it's like me and bro about to clap cheeks without anybody watching. It's like, what the fuck? But my favorite one is they have Norman, and they say the only character in the entire franchise to ever stay on the main quest, and then and yeah, he's on the main quest. Everything is a side
Holy
quest.
shit.
Everything in Fallout is a side quest. He's the only one who went there, and then the top comment was, when you reach the end of the game and you haven't leveled up at all, it's all, and that's very true. He's the only one who
Wow.
stayed on
I
shit.
didn't catch that.
And I had no idea. He's the little fucking kid. I know he was on like Hannah Montana or
Something like that. He was, yeah.
But he's the little kid from Nacho Libre. He's the, why can't we ever just have like a salad?
Oh, shit.
That's him. Yeah,
Dang.
that's him. He's
wow.
like, why can't we ever have a salad or something? That's Norman.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I was like, oh, good God. So yeah, again, I think that it was what I love about the perspective about these characters and the way that they're writing stuff is you're going to be in a position where, like it back to Invincible, they stuck very true to the big heavy parts of the comic while not just completely following it. You take the characters, you take the strife, you take the things, and they're consolidating it because there's so much of it.
Right.
But they're adding the best part of it. And what would you do if you actually gave a shit about this property? Invincible, honestly, they're gonna try to fix the new way that they do the next season, so it's not so spread
spread out. Yeah.
because I really think that hurt them. But again, if you really love the property, you're gonna watch it regardless.
Man, I have to say that last fight with Replicate. What's the speed guy? It was the three of them, and they were getting overrun, and the way Replicate gets killed, and like dude,
Yeah.
it was like, and again, what's his name gets shot in the head, and he just like, I'm not dead yet. Like he went fucking off, and again, that was the thing that I was like, this is what I enjoy about seeing some of these superhero things, is that they're not afraid to take chances, you know, and taking people out, taking characters like that you've grown to love, and then all of a sudden one episode and you had no idea that that was going to go down, and you're like, what the hell, you know what I mean? That's it, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know,
I give Invincible, again, I'm a solid, besides his goddamn now ex-girlfriend.
yeah,
I give it a 9 out of 10, dude. And I think the only reason I dock it a point is because of
his girlfriend.
Well, no, yeah, right. Specifically because she's the lapse.
Yeah.
That was such a poor judgment. If it wasn't done, don't do it.
Yeah, just wait till it's finished and then say, you know what, we're sorry. Here, you had Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
You know, you gave us a bite of that, so at least we.
And I also, again, go back to non-syndicated shit. Like, just release everything at once.
Yeah.
Oh, but you burned through it. I don't have
You know
to
what
watch
though?
it
That was one thing I say that I have to say about you that I was not jealous of, but it was because you went and watched all the episodes of Fallout one at a time.
Yeah.
I tried to do that. I watched the
It
first
was
one.
never going to happen.
No, but I mean, I really tried to enjoy it though. But that's because I watched the first two, and then my dad had come to visit during that time, and I'm like, you know what, let's watch it. So he sat down and watched it, and it was like spending time with him. That was why I think we ended up watching them all, is because it was like boom, one after another, and he was only going to be here for a couple days, and it was one of those things where like, I don't get to see my dad very much. I don't get to talk to him very often. So to have something that gave us a moment to like, he was asking me questions and I was able to give him all the history because I'd played the game so much. And then he was even like more enamored with my mom because of the fact that like she knew all this shit too. You know what I mean? She knew, she said that this was the first show that she had ever watched that she didn't feel lost. Like most movies and most things that I introduced to her, she never knows the character. She doesn't know the backstories. She thinks Superman and Batman are in the same world as Iron Man and Thor. You know what I mean? Like
She's wrong.
But you know what I mean? Like, so she gets all her characters mixed up. But for this show, like, even though she didn't know the characters directly as Maximus, Lucy, or the Ghoul, she knew enough about the characters because of all the different times that I've played and she sat and watched. Like, it's funny. I had to tell her sometimes, like, you got to go. You can't sit here with me and watch me play. Because she gets all like, oh, shoot him, here, get this one. And then, you know, she like starts freaking out. And especially if I'm running around the wastelands with no power armor, she gets all stressed out. Oh, I can't watch you when you play with it. I'm like, Mom, it's a game. You're fine.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll be on top of a skyscraper and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to jump off this. And you feel the pit of your stomach just like lose it because you're watching it. And she's like, oh, she's like, why? I'm like, Mom, you're fine. You're not going to, it doesn't hurt my legs. It doesn't hurt your legs. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't VR. Like, you're fine. Like,
Yeah.
you go to your room. Go to your
How
room.
many fucking bottle caps do we have on us right now? No, I agree, dude. And I feel like, again, what I have enjoyed about a lot of this stuff is we have a lot of really great content, but we need people to get back to what makes, like, what I love about comics truly, honestly, is when people have freedom to be expressive. Mm-hmm. I really hope one day they make an animated series and it has to be done by the Invader Zim team, or it has to be done by somebody working with the what's their fucking name? Happy Tree Friends.
Oh, yeah.
But with Scotty Young for I Hate Fairyland. I Hate Fairyland is such a great series. And a lot of people that don't know I Hate Fairyland, we have it up on our Cold Cuts on our Instagram. But it is a book about a 7 or 8 year old girl named Gertrude who wishes herself into a fairyland place, like when in her imagination, but she gets pulled into it. It's basically a rated R version of Shrek, and she just fucking murders everybody. And then now, after years of a hiatus, I think it was like 5 years of hiatus, she's grown up. because in the original book she is a 38-year-old woman, but she still looks like she's 7 or 8.
Right.
So she's grown up in her head, but she's not. She still looks like a child, and she's trying to get the fuck out. But she ends up being the Deadpool of their universe and just goes fucking bazonkers. But Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh, the long trailer, probably one of the best trailers, and I'm gonna be honest, dude. I can't wait. Tomorrow, it needs to come out tomorrow. But I guess they're doing some more more reshoots. They're changing a little bit of the storyline, but so far, my God, the interactions between the two of them. This Wolverine seems like he's like the worst of the worst Wolverines. It seems like they're kind of tying in elements of Logan, Old Man Logan, to this, but not making it him. I don't trust this TVA. After watching that trailer a couple of times, I don't think the guy Paradox is who he says he is. I think it's something else. The other person that the villain, they've been calling her Casanova, but it's actually what's Cassandra Nova is her name.
Mm-hmm. That's
Professor X
sister.
Yeah. So somebody who had mentioned that in the world, when you watch, she's like basically living inside of giant Ant-Man inside his body and whatnot. And there's something else that somebody had mentioned that I guess she's stuck on the planet Void with everybody else, and she's kind of collected all these has-beens, these villains, and everything else from all the different planets. But her whole key or her whole role in the Void is to go around killing off versions of Charles Xavier and collecting his wheelchairs. Like, that's kind of psycho and like, okay, but I get it, because isn't that the story, like where she came to be, is like in the womb. Apparently Professor X kills her, and like before they were even born, and somehow she survived as a cell. So the fact that he killed her in womb, and then here she is, still ended up becoming something, and now she's making vengeance by killing all the versions of him. It's like, that's kind of.
I feel I now that he's in charge as far as Ryan Reynolds, the first Deadpool movie is phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
really good. Second one, not so much. It has its moments.
Yeah.
But it is not a good movie in my opinion, because they had too much studio interference.
Yeah,
I
agree
think
with that.
I think this one, it has the right amount of what makes Ryan Reynolds the Deadpool character.
We can't talk about cocaine.
Yeah,
Yeah, like all the
Feige doesn't want it. Even all the things. Yeah, you can't do this, huh? Which is funny, because what's her name? The old blind lady.
Yeah,
she's the overseer.
Yeah,
now.
she's the overseer. Betty.
Betty. Yeah, she's Betty, the overseer. But I think this works because, again, you have not only an awesome Deadpool character, great, perfect acting, perfect actor, perfect casting, then you have the Wolverine.
Yeah.
And the jokes in it, I think that's what I've avoided everything.
Good.
I've avoided everything except for the one trailer that they showed all the villains, and they brought back everyone from like Azrael and fucking
Letty Deathstrike.
Yeah, Letty Deathstrike. Which to me, I'm like, what a great thing. Because that to me is fucking fan service. You have to go to the people who have been fucking with you the entire goddamn time and give those people what they want. Because the thing is like, you need us to make this work.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, then it flops. What has been one of the biggest flops recently?
For Marvel?
For anything.
Rebel Moon?
Dude, holy shit. But before we get into Rebel Moon, I mean, holy guaca fucking moly. That was Morgan.
Yeah.
She's like, Jesus fucking Louise.
Morgan.
Oh. I feel like that is really the thing, is you have somebody who's like, I have an idea of how I can make it better. Okay, that's cool, but again, it's not really up to you to make this franchise, this thing, much more different. It's just adding to the world. The whole idea of Fallout, the whole idea of Last of Us or Invincible, all these things, just like I was talking earlier with the guy who spoke to me about, well, why would you want to be a cover artist versus like just, why would you want to paint Batman? Because I'm getting to visit their universe, and I want to see how I can make my mark in the story of this character without deterring it.
Right.
I don't think adding new characters makes a better Batman. I don't need 20 fucking different Robins. I don't need this or that. I could use the original ones, you know, like I could have Dick, I can have fucking Babs, I can have Damian, I could have Jason, fucking even the GOAT. What's his face?
Tim Drake.
Tim, thank you. Tim's one of the best ones out of all of them. He gets the least credit. But I love Damian. Damian's mine because he's just a piece of shit. But, oh yeah, fucking 100%. That's my boy. But, like, what makes Batman great is what happens when you put him, like, in the Justice League Unlimited series is when Amanda Waller has the Royal Flush Gang, like the 4th version of them. And Ace is about to die, the little girl. And she goes, and she's like, I knew you wouldn't hurt me. She goes, would you stay with me? Because I'm scared of dying. And he goes, yeah. And he just swings with her. And then when she dies of her aneurysm, he brings her out. And it's a very solid moment where you have the Man of Steel, you have Wonder Woman, you have Amanda Waller, you have Hot Girl, you have all these people that are gods amongst men and fucking the U.S. government or whatever. And you have just the man.
Just immortal.
Just a mortal being human towards a child who's just afraid. And to me, it's like, that's all you need. You just need what makes that thing great.
And that's another huge, incredible amount of strength that one has to put out to be able to do something like that. To give someone grace in their dying moments, you know what I mean? To be that comforting person. Because that's something now Batman has to live with. Like, even though it's like, I do it because it needs to be done, and I do it because I would want someone to be there for me, kind of thing. But at the same time, like, after that moment happens, he has to live with that moment until the end of his days. You know, like, it's...
And I think that's where the whole Deadpool versus Wolverine thing is. It's like you're giving people what they want, right? You're adding to what is already existing, and then you're making the jokes, you're making the awareness.
Because it's almost like they're doing the Deadpool kills the Marvel universe.
Yes.
With the Wolverine. Because again, this is not Deadpool 3.
No.
This is Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes.
That's what this movie is. So it's even though it's kind of picking up where Deadpool 3 left off, it is not Deadpool 3. This is its own movie itself. And what I like about it too, again, it seems like they're going to give this Wolverine a hero redemption arc, right. You know, which is perfect. For those that have been watching X-Men 97, I feel like they're trying to tie some stuff in with that. I feel like there's something that's going on with the version of Wolverine that we're seeing in 97 that might have a connection to this Wolverine that we're seeing in the movie.
Yeah.
But
I just feel like, again, the reason why I feel it's going to do well is because you can already tell somebody's taking a stab proverbially, and literally into this universe and just being like, why do we need to make up anything when we have all the dots? Now, how do dots connect? I love the way that they talked about what happens in the South Park writing room. Bill Hader would talk about it in interviews, and he goes, Matt would go and like, what about this, and what about this, and what about this, and then Trey would walk around the room and just pace and pace and pace, and he goes, you'd see how their minds would work, and he goes, okay, so they go here, and then so they go to a Mexican restaurant. The Mexican restaurant has enchiladas, but because the enchiladas are overpriced, it starts a war in North Korea. North Korea is getting child labor from Africa. And like, he goes, you watch their brains work, and it's that they have pieces to a puzzle that are already existing, and they're just looking for the best ways to
assemble them.
Yeah, that's all it is. So for me, I feel like the reason why all these other shows do well, and why I feel like Deadpool and Wolverine is going to do well, is because they're taking what already exists and being like, what has the internet been meaning about? What can we do to make it meta, and what can we do to make it metal? You know, let's fucking go for it. The whole thing of the one, aside from Vision has been fucking taken advantage of so many times.
Yeah.
But the one guy that's like, he doesn't deserve that, would be Scott Lang, would be Ant-Man. And to see his mask open up and it's a cavern.
Yeah.
That's a great fucking thing, because you're like, why?
And you know there's going to be a joke about where's the escape route? You know, how do we get out of this from, you know, Ant-Man's butthole? There we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do think it's going to be good. When does it come out?
Not till July, like July 26th.
I mean, so we got 3 months.
3 months, yeah. I'm pretty sure you'll probably see it jump up sooner because they're going to be like, no, we need to capitalize on some summer dollars, and everybody's like, we need to have some kind of buzz going on for, because I don't know what else we have for Marvel now that today was the last day of X-Men 97.
Yeah.
Last episode of Bad Batch came out today. Friday, Tales of the Empire.
Okay.
I can't wait to see that.
What's that about?
That one is the one that's going to be dealing with General Grievous. It seems like it's all Sith orientated storyline. So we'll see. Because like I like Tales of the Jedi. The version that the stories they were telling about the Dooku and when he was younger, when he had young Qui-Gon Jinn on his side. Like that was some good. And then of course they had the young Ahsoka, baby Ahsoka kind of thing going on. But yeah. So we'll see what these episodes are going to be about. But after that, I can't think of anything else that's going to be out for a month of May. I know they pushed some other stuff back recently. I think the Kraven movie just got pushed back.
Oh no.
They did announce that what's his name, Wesley Snipes, he's going to be in the Blade reboot. They're going to go ahead and include him into that. Which,
if he can make it in What We Do in the Shadows, why not?
Oh, that's true.
He said
He's a day
Rivers
walker.
says there's still one episode left for X-Men 97.
Oh, is there?
I guess so.
Okay, cool. Because I was like,
I stopped watching after episode 2. I heard everything that's happened so far, but I want to wait till the season's done.
That we can watch it all.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, Nathaniel was the one who had me watch episode 1 and 2. So well done. I don't really care for the animation the way it looks now because I guess nostalgia goggles, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's the storytelling and everything about it really made me be like, fuck, dude. X-Men and Batman the Animated Series, even fucking the Spider-Man show, they dealt with some pretty adult things.
Well, and that's the thing is that there's a trailer that I saw that shows a clip of Captain America's shield hitting the snow. So I don't know what that was. I don't think I've watched that episode yet.
I have no idea.
But also that they were saying that because they've seen the success of 97 doing so well, that they're going to go ahead and move forward with doing the animated Spider-Man, picking it up from where it left off. Because at the end of the original Spider-Man series, it finished off with the Spider-Man the Clone Wars thing, or the Spider-Man multiverse version of it, and then it just ends, and it ends with him swinging through New York City with Stan Lee and just enjoying the day with Stan Lee, and then he goes back to his own universe, and it's like,
hey there, true believer. I think I'm having a heart attack.
I'm gonna drop you off here, Stan.
You got insurance?
No.
Sucks to suck. But yeah. Rebel Moon, huh? How you gonna defend this one?
There's no way to defend that, dude. Like, what the hell? For him to make the claim that that was his, I guess, his pitch to Lucasfilm for a Star Wars movie, which, if it's, I mean, it's right up there with the other 3 shitty Star Wars Disney movies. I'll give it to him on that, but no originality as far as I could see. And like, even I sat with my buddy Roberto and my mom, and we watched it. She wanted to watch it, so we're like, you know what, let's sit and watch it, because he saw the first one. I didn't. I couldn't even bother. I'm like, I'm good. And holy hell, like every trope that he could possibly steal, he was stealing. It was all Magnificent Seven samurai. Not all the heroes get killed off, but 2 of them do, and you're just like, okay, why has it got to be the colored people? Why?
Yeah. In space, only brown and olive people are apparently killable.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Oh man, no.
The first one was hot dog shit. That was a really rough movie with just unbearable exposition. Years ago, I read this about Snyder when they were talking about him with Batman v Superman. And even to this day, he's like, I don't understand why people got so angry about the Martha thing. It's like, if you can't see that, dude, you're kind of fucking stupid. They said it like so. genuine.
Right.
Everyone was shitting on Snyder in this thread, and then he goes, one person goes, Zack Snyder is a beautiful painter that tells horrible stories. And I was like, that's true. Look at Watchmen. Look at one of the worst, best movies of all time. And it's not best because it's fucking good. It's best because of the visuals.
Right.
Sucker Punch.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people forget about that one.
Yeah.
Fucking samurai Ronin robots with fucking women in skirts just fighting around. Basically,
schoolgirl outfits.
Yeah, it's basically Sailor Moon for fucking dystopians.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? And so it's Gundam meets Sailor Moon. Done by a shitty American, you know. He's a. What do you have to say for yourself? He's a mishy. You know, and so because of that whole thing, I really feel like the hard part is you can't really enjoy things. Watchmen, I think, was already well done. It was a solid cast, everything. Watchmen's hard to fuck up if you just go by the code. There's a lot of things that are different. Where Rorschach, people idolize him in the movie, but in the book, he is the worst character. Like, you have to be a terrible person. When they did the TV show, they rectified that because all the people that liked Rorschach were just like crazy racist nuts, you know?
Of course.
That's all it was. So when you start getting to that world of Zack Snyder, everything he paints or shoots, so to speak, is visually stunning. Right, it's beautifully told.
Right,
but the story is bad. When you look at Dawn of the Dead, the remake he did, that was well done. But let's be honest, bunch of people in a mall, zombies killing everybody one-on-one, and the guy who gets it worse than anybody, the black guy who has a baby, and the baby's eating from inside out. Like, and you even have Phil Dunphy, fucking
he's an asshole.
Oh yeah, one of the America's most lovable dads for 11 years is one of the biggest pieces of shit. I got a boat, you know, fucking Lonely Island over here.
Yep.
And it was such a genuine moment of that is what he's good at. He's good at like shock and awe. But I think what is sad is he doesn't really have a really good voice of that. And Rebel Moon was a good example of, you know how to show things that are beautiful. You have you're really good at composition and you're really good at lighting, but you have no idea how or why you're putting things where they are. They look pretty, but they don't do anything.
Yeah.
So part 2 was even worse.
Yeah.
I had it
part do.
And I feel like that's the real problem. I was watching it when I was designing and doing some stuff and just had this background, and I had to stop like 4 or 5 times because like the dialogue is so bad. You know, like how badly do people?
Well, there's that one guy that was the Bradley Cooper. He's like the knockoff Bradley Cooper. I was calling him Possum Saucer because he kind of reminded me like a Rocket Raccoon, but like a knockoff Possum Saucer, man. that God, that movie was just garbage.
Yeah.
Like it's like there were some elements, some designs, like you said, like some of the ship designs I thought were fucking cool. Those drop ships that they were bringing in their tanks and everything. Clearly a fucking Clone Wars shuttle like rip off. Like clearly, like that whole design of like how they can pick them up and drop them off. I'm like, 6-legged armored vehicles, like that is Star Wars Episode 1, Episode 2. Like, you're not showing me anything like original right now, boy. Like, if you're gonna make this Rebel Moon thing, and again, I get it, he was trying to make his Star Wars, and all those people that said that this movie was gonna be bigger than Star Wars, like,
you're fucking high.
Denied.
Yeah,
you're
absolutely
denied. The Force was not with that one.
Yeah, that was a really bad movie, and that's again, I think that's where you're trying to create something that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Luke Belson with The Fifth Element was a really good example of it was the right time, place, and people.
Yeah.
Right? Fucking Chris Tucker?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Tucker.
Ruby Rose?
Ruby Rose. Ruby Rod.
Ruby Rod, there you go.
Yeah, and he was just like, you know, it's a Corban Dallas. You know, and the omnipotence of this higher being in power that makes you bleed black and doesn't explain anything. Yeah. It's such a really weird thing that has so many unanswered questions, but it was just the right time. Mystery Men to this day is still one of my favorite fucking movies. Fucking what's his name? Something von Frankenstein. Um, the main.
Oh
villain.
yeah. Oh God. Not Victor Von. No. It was
No. Yeah, but the again, one of the best things about those movies is like they were really neo Adam Punk. You know, there was a mixture of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like Gotham City. You
Yeah, I was
can't
gonna
really
say
tell
that
where it's
to
at.
where it's at. Yep, it felt like you said. It definitely felt a little bit like Gotham. It felt more like Metropolis. It gave you all the
trappings.
the
of it.
trappings of it. Yeah,
Look at Batman and Robin. You know,
Mhm,
when they
mhm.
have that moment of like, it's like it's the Bat fucking they and when that's not Batman, that's Bat Boy. They're in a fucking alleyway, and as a kid, I was like, dude, everything's glowing in the dark. That's crazy, and not thinking like that's a lot of black lights. You know, Jesus Christ, how much cancer did these guys get from this fucking set? Jesus. But then when you get to Valerian Planet or fucking City of a Thousand Worlds
Right.
or some shit like that, the book itself from France is an interesting book, but it's it's not wow, but it is
Right.
interesting. The movie itself is terrible, but had it come out in 1995, I think it would have absolutely landed.
So like, okay, what about John Carter? There's a movie right there. Good movie, bad timing. Like when
Yes.
it came out, it was like right after Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, because the arena scene in the Coliseum in Attack of the Clones was very much similar to when he's battling on Mars. Because isn't that what he is? He's like he's fighting some kind of creatures or monsters in like a stadium setting kind of thing. So it kind of felt like it didn't feel the same, or didn't have its own it wasn't able to establish its own world, because
Yeah.
like you said, Fifth Element, perfect time to come out, because there was no real science fiction movies that were dealing with anything Star Wars or Star Trek. But you could watch Fifth Element, you could see elements of Star Trek, you could see elements of Firefly and all these other, and you bought into the world because
Yeah.
it was like, okay, I could buy into this.
I love when people like what was that one movie called with what's it the fucking nerd movie, the one that was like before any but Fanboys.
Oh, that's one of my favorite movies right
of
there,
course,
dude.
and it's like wow, how much?
What
for
about
the
me?
Yeah,
I like sweater yams.
yeah. The fucking we keep that for profiling. Get out.
Oh yeah.
Get out. The fucking.
How much
phaser.
for the phaser? It's not for sale. We use it to sniff out Trekkie.
Yeah, fucking.
Yeah,
the way he talks shit, and it's like
To get the hell off our land. Get the hell off our land. Go on, get out of here.
I remember as a kid looking at that, I was like, I could fuck that dude up. I had such a fucking affinity for fucking that white boy up. I have no reason why. But you know I feel like Rivers goes calling it John Carter wasn't helping it.
Yeah,
but the book itself, it was a really good movie. I loved the movie. I thought it was done really well. And it's basically like Conan the Barbarian meets Year One Superman, you know, and how things work. His bones are denser, so he's a super guy. It was done beautifully, and they just didn't go off with it. But the funny thing is that there's a lot of people that hate Star Trek, but they love Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
Galaxy Quest was another great one with Tim Allen, fucking Sigourney
Fucking
Weaver,
Tim Roth.
Tim Roth.
Oh no,
Everybody-
not Tim Roth. Tim. What's his name?
Oh, you're talking about Tim,
God.
Alan Rickman.
You know, Alan Rickman's in it too,
Yeah.
but no, the ensign. He plays fucking Hammer in
Yeah.
Iron Man 2.
I don't remember his name.
Why can't I think of his
But
name?
all I'm saying is like when you get there, it's like by Grath Bars Hammer, we shall avenge. Like the whole movie is just what made Star Trek great, which was they're a bunch of fucking space nerds that are exploring and they get into some real deep shit. Fucking Dwight and a few of the other aliens when they're in the back. Aliens from space. Fucking, what makes those movies great was they took a chance. Like Dogma is another great movie.
Sam Rockwell.
Thank you.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
They take a really big chance on. Yeah, he's Scotty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They take a really huge chance on an idea of like, what if we just made this and have it go this way. Double Dragon. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Fucking. There was just so many movies at the time where I feel like you would never get Adam's Family made today. Adam's Family Values? Absolutely not.
no.
You know, cash me, give me a
Yeah.
20. And he's looking in his fucking lapel, fucking Fester. And it's just like, I fucking love it. It's like, lady killer, acquitted. Just the simplicity of good writing does not need much. It's just a hand that moves, and when it's sad,
It's so expressive in the way. Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
You know, fucking the camp scene when it's the little blonde girl, and it's Wednesday, and she goes, "We need to practice our swimming techniques for lifeguard badges. Who wants to be the Johnny victim? I'll be the victim." And Wednesday goes, "All your life." Like, so fucking on point, dude, right? I feel like that is what I think misses a lot of times, is that the magic of just writing something that you have no expectations other than just fucking making it good.
See, and like, how do you feel about the new Beetlejuice that's coming out?
So that's hard too, right? Fucking Spock asks, Galaxy Quest is awesome. The Phantom, I'm always gonna fight for the Phantom. I don't give a shit if it's Billy
there's another
Zane.
one. Yeah.
I love the Phantom.
See, at that time you had because how far before would because Dick Tracy was the first one that I remember
Dick
of like
Tracy,
the old ones. Then you had the
Rocketeer,
Phantom.
and the
I'm sorry,
and the Phantom.
Phantom, Rocketeer. What's the other one? The one with the silver ghost, or not something like that. It's the one with the Baldwin guy. The Shadow.
The Shadow.
The Shadow.
Yeah.
So like all of those were like that, reminding me of the 1930s like radio serial.
Because that was the time when you had Spielberg and them, what they grew up with, and they were like, let's bring back our childhood.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I grew up with that shit. You've seen my office.
Oh yeah, 100%.
My office has a shitload of Dick Tracy stuff because of my dad. Dick Tracy to this fucking day is one of my favorite movies. It is terrible by most standards, but it's amazing.
Right.
Fucking what's his face? The guy who played Captain Hook.
Dustin Hoffman.
Mumbles.
Yeah.
Tell us who they are, Mumbles.
Well, the fact that Madonna was in it.
And then goes, fuck, he's down by the dogs. Like, fucking so stupid. Blockhead. That is the movie that's responsible the most for Pacino really breaking it. Because Pacino before was like, hey, how's it going? I'm Al Pacino. But then Dick Tracy came out and he's, ooh, you know, and he's very animated, you know. And then you see him later with young Keanu Reeves in The Devil's Advocate.
That's right.
A great
well, shit, when he
movie.
did Dustin Hoffman when he did Hook.
Yes. He said, I'm gonna do it, Smee. No, don't do it, Captain. Don't blow your brains out. No, I'll do it. Do not stop me. Fucking, such a great thing to where I feel like there is a part of what I really believe in, and this is just my I really, really think that what made that Roger Rabbit, all these things done well was you had vaudeville.
Yeah.
And people who had to be like, ask me any question about anything new right now.
How do you feel about them Dodgers? I hate fucking baseball.
Really? That's not what your mom said when I swung at her last night. It's like such a really campy thing, right? But it took wit, and you had to be what they call the triple threat.
Right.
Sing, dance, act.
Right.
So you have these people who were over the top. Fucking Futurama makes fun of it. Welcome to the world of tomorrow. Those are real serials.
Right.
The fucking Swiss Family Robinson, the UFO Files, all those old things were so fucking great. And I think you had a type of time in the 70s where Robin Williams, John Candy, and like Susan Sarandon, all these people were coming up.
Yeah.
In the drama and in the comedy, where they had to be a triple threat,
Mm-hmm.
and they also just had to be funny.
Right.
They had to be dramatic. They had to be good. So when you took out these things, they have like Hook.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you look at Robin Williams and you hear the whole thing of like, you kids need to fucking do this. Get out of your scuzz brain, Rufio. It's like the weirdest, dumbest thing, but it works.
Yeah.
You know, the whole idea of, I was talking to Rivers about this when him and Yessie, they had been doing their booth for their tumblers at the con. And
I bought one. They're awesome.
Yeah. We Susan bought 2 of them, and they're fucking great. Like, we love them to death. And we were talking about the whole scene in Aladdin. He's look at everybody here. It's a coffee maker makes fries and Julian fry maker. He goes, it will not break. It broke. Just how the ad-libbing of that time. And I feel what made the 90s with the Phantom and with Dick Tracy, you had these people who we saw as professionals having to live up to what they had to hear.
Yeah.
Whatever was in their mind on top of what they could see, Casablanca, they here's looking at you, kid. They had to really live up to what black and white films were. So we got this really good idea of what the world looked like through a winner's eye. I'll never forget when Barry and I were bullshitting one day, and we were talking to his ex, and she's from Germany, and in Germany, especially around people that I've known, clients, friends, whatever, they do not talk about the war. And that's just a big no-no for them. I mean, they understand it, and they understand the severity of it, and they're taught, like, what their history was to an extent. And then for us, we were making jokes per usual, like, fucking A, man. And she goes, how can you guys joke about the war? That's, like, crazy. Like, why? And Barry and I looked at each other, and we go, because we won, baby! Woo! USA! USA! Bam! Yeah. So anytime you watch these movies, you're watching it from the point of view of somebody who has, like, complete altruism in what they're doing.
Right.
Brendan Fraser's The Mummy. Shout out to fucking Pep. They went for the 20th anniversary.
Yeah,
just
25th or something like that.
Something like that. Another great movie.
Yeah.
But again, it captivates the time of vaudeville. I think a lot of the new movies don't really captivate that because they focused on how cool can we make something look without telling you anything.
Yeah.
I don't need a horse with a really cool saddle. I need a horse with a good enough saddle that can take me the fucking 300 miles that way. That's why Fallout works, right? What are the real crazy wardrobe changes for Lucy? Nothing
really. Other than she's adding leather belts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like she's
just putting tiny things on.
Yeah.
Maximus, what does he really change?
He changes from being a squire to getting a power suit.
That's it.
Which, yeah.
Ghoul.
He has no changes other than just
that and ass jerky.
Yeah.
You know? and then
God.
Invincible. You know, like they focus so much on the character growing, not changing.
Yeah.
And that is probably what makes it there. If they want to make good movies like Snyder or Rebel Moon, they need to grow their world, not change it.
Yeah.
Because if you have that, then it's not going to be anything worth the while. But anyways, is there anything that you want to recommend for the week before we head out?
What do I want to recommend this week? Well, definitely want to recommend coming down to Intergalactic Imports. If I could unzip.
It's right here.
Free Comic Book Day. Where are we at?
We're right there.
Oh, I got that thing in my way. There you go. Free Comic Book Day starts at 10 a.m. Del Monte Shopping Center, 350 Del Monte Shopping Center. Hope to see you guys there. Come dressed up in your favorite Star Wars character or not. Just come out and support the shop.
Yeah.
As far as what I'll suggest for reading this week, definitely pick up the new Deadpool Wolverine World War III. See what that's all about. As far as what am I listening to, just listening to a bunch of people complain at work that we ain't got nothing new. So, yeah. But other than that, nothing really to watch other than X-Men, Bad Batch, and get on Fallout because you're going to miss out.
And that new one from Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. Tales of the Empire. That one comes out on Friday. Yep, absolutely. Disney Plus. And then I guess Star Wars Episode 1 is in theaters this weekend, too, for their 25th anniversary.
Yeah, Darth invited me to go to it, and I was like, what, am I gay? What am I, a Jedi?
What about you?
I am going to recommend going to Intergalactic Imports for Free Comic Book Day. Collecting some cool shit, meeting some other people. I would also recommend on Fridays. I mean, we're doing it right now throughout the week,
right?
But we've become more of a card and game shop, Gundam shop as well as on top of our older issues. Definitely come on down. Like there's the boys who are here from Bri, Rodrigo, Eric, fucking UG, Sam, Isaiah. I mean, all the way down to all the new players. Like, it's been amazing, and we're trying to really pivot the shop into a way that we can have more stuff happen. I know that they're going to start a Yu-Gi-Oh club here. One of the guys, MJ. And so, yeah, we definitely want you guys to come and check that out and hang out with us some more. I would say as far as recommendations for movies, right now I would recommend, you know what? The Rocketeer.
Yes.
The Phantom.
Yes.
The Spirit.
Spirit, yep.
And
or the Shadow.
The Shadow, sorry.
Shadow,
The
yeah.
Shadow and Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy. Go and check those out and just have a good time.
Yeah.
Don't have a lot of expectations. Just go in really where it's at. Also, Roger Rabbit. I think Roger Rabbit's just
That's
a staple.
another one, yeah.
A really
Absolutely,
good staple. I'd say music-wise, I am currently listening to... I think I'm listening to... Let me see real quick.
Yeah.
Who was it the other day? Jaxomy. Jaxomy. It is called Pedro. Pedro. A little bit more of like the Latin salsa EDM stuff. I've been really digging that right now. I'm still reading Slewfoot. It is a very hard read for me in the first few chapters, but it does get better. It's by Brahm. Slewfoot, I would check it out if you're really into that. I would also recommend Lost Gods. That was the one that we were supposed to talk with Butch, but it is a tremendous book. If you want to listen to it, whatever, on Audible, check out Lost Gods by Brahm. Very sad but good story, and it's just got a lot of lore to it. If you love American Gods by Neil Gaiman, you will love Lost Gods by Brahm. And that is pretty much it.
Yeah.
So cool, man. All right. Well, thank you guys for another awesome thing. Thank you, Spock. Thank you, Rivers. Thank you to No Name, BD, and fucking Bootlegged, as well as Sanzu, Edwin, and so forth, everyone else.
Yes, thank you.
Joffman. And be sure to catch us on Friday night. We're going to have the 1v1 with Bootleg Comics. And join us on Saturday night and all day pretty much.
Yeah.
Come to the Gundam Club and to the card night. Come and hang out, dude. We do not charge for tables, but we do charge you for merchandise.
Yes.
Okay. And so say the society. So